Hello, Carson. Welcome to Unblocking session. It's been a while since I've done one of these, so excited to chat with you today. The best thing and the best place to start is just what do you feel blocked on?
Well, I guess it's like I've got a couple of different career things going on. I'm a professional poker player, and I bet on current events and a couple of other small things. And most of that stuff is going all right. Um, and there's sort of a mismatch where uh, the people that I look up to or the sort of ideas or projects that I'm most interested in are in areas sort of currently outside of my career. So I'm like, okay, what does it mean if the sort of things that most excite me or most impress me are sort of like people pursuing kind of like a different path than I'm on, and I feel like I'm like, okay, should I try and pivot to that? But there are sort of things along that path that it feels like I'm more blocked on, and
Okay, cool.
I wanted to help.
That's helpful. I'm gonna ask like tons of questions, largely just to get concrete details. Um, I'm gonna jump around, and like this is just for me to kind of form a mental model, and then we'll
Yes.
kind of get into like more explainy territory in a little bit. Um, so what is the thing that you really want? Like, what are the things that you're really attracted to that you put your time and attention on that you're just not doing?
Yeah. I think a bunch of people are sort of like working together in public on Twitter. I'm really drawn to that, like Visa's work and Rich's work and the stuff that you're doing.
Yeah. Okay. So, like, bucket there is like network work, public network work, or kind of like working in public, or is it specifically like the network state element of it, of like building some kind of network of people that are cooperating generally? Is it about the cooperativeness or just the working in public?
Yeah, so it's about the cooperativeness. I live in a seven-person cooperative house, and I've lived in cooperative houses for the last 6 years, and I really enjoy it, and I plan to continue it. Um, and I think I want, uh, yeah, I want to do stuff similar to that, and want to, you know, build out connected alternative things beyond just living in a cooperative house. Probably, similar to Fractal. I thought about doing the Fractal Accelerator, but it didn't. I felt like I was too blocked to really get a lot out of it,
Sure.
or at the
Okay.
right
Cool.
level.
Yeah, that's helpful. And then right now, a couple things. I just want to talk about your finances for a sec. You said you're doing well. What does that mean to you? Do you have runway? Are you saving for retirement, or are you just paying your bills?
Yeah, I have quite a lot of runway. So I guess in my old method of calculating runway, I had like 5 years of runway, but now I have a wife and a kid, so I probably have a little bit less, but still multiple years of runway. And
Okay, that's good.
all the work that I'm doing is flexible, so it can be scaled up and down, and so it wouldn't need to be a hard break, and it's not something I couldn't come back to if I stop now.
Okay, so you're pretty confident in your ability to maintain your earnings potential, at
Yes.
least. Plus, right now you're saving actively every month as you work. Good, good. And then let's talk about like blockers. Like it sounds like there's all these things you want to do. Maybe you're experiencing executive dysfunction is kind of the image I'm getting. What are those elements of executive dysfunction? Where is your time going such that it's not going toward like making this pivot happen that you like want to have happen? Maybe your time and your attention. Actually, let's focus a little bit more on your attention than your time.
Yeah. I think I guess like last night, it was like, okay, my kid's asleep and I'm going to be up for several more hours, and there's nothing sort of urgent that has to go in this block. And what's the next sort of non urgent, important thing I can do during this uninterrupted block? And didn't come up with anything good, or like I'm
Mm.
not in the habit of sort of putting those blocks to good use, even when they come
Okay,
up.
that makes sense. So you have blocks where you could be doing non-urgent important work. Like right now, it sounds like the problem is a problem of vision.
Yeah,
Okay.
or a little bit vision, and I also think there's a thing where I'm like, okay, the next step is like reaching out to people, or the next step is like publishing things to create a beacon to.
Okay, so we have a vision. So we want to reach out to people. We want to publish things. Let's start with the first one because reaching out to people is so easy, objectively, but it's very difficult emotionally. So when you imagine reaching out to people, what, why not doing it? What emotions come up?
There's it's like risky. It's like I actually, the people I'd reach out to are people whose opinions I care about, and they don't, know me yet.
You're
And
risking something. Like
yeah,
you're risking your relationship with them, or you're risking your
well, there's,
reputation.
there's not even a relationship. I
Yeah,
being rejected by people whose opinion I'm interested in.
yeah.
Um,
Okay, so you risk rejection. I'm curious, like, if we sit with that rejection more. So, like, let's imagine the rejection case occurs.
yeah,
Is there a specific person, like Rich? Let's say Rich. You want to reach out to Rich. Um, so imagine that Rich rejects you. Like, the most likely form of rejection is ghosting or him saying no, thank you, right now, forward to like whatever you're asking. So imagine that those happen. Then what happens emotionally?
it's a ego blow.
It's sort of
It's yeah,
like I'm not good enough to work with Rich, or
yeah, or I guess yeah, I don't know. I've been comfortable, and it's sort of like life has come to me, so it's just been a long time. So I think then like uh it's like some part of my mind is like, oh, because we haven't been rejected in a while, like that's because we're so good and cool, and not
mm.
because we've been so complacent about putting ourselves into
So
position.
it would okay. So it would indicate a large update that you don't feel emotionally prepared for. The large update is something like I'm not as good and cool and successful as I like would like. It would be a big update. Like, oh, maybe I'm just not there yet, even though I really want to be. Something like that.
um yeah, I think that, yeah, I think of, and also, it's something where I don't know for sure what it like. If I knew, I might have found the better workaround to it.
Yeah. So okay, a couple of ways that we can know, and like just get a little bit more clarity is we can try to like scan our body as we're imagining this occurring. So like as you're imagining reaching out to Rich, are there parts of your body that light up at all? Or you're imagining like reaching out and asking for advice from Visa or from me, or like a collaboration or a partnership, or sending a manifesto.
Yeah, I feel it like sort of like
Okay.
upper.
And is it a constriction here, like kind of like a constriction in your like lower throat, or is it something else?
Feels a little lower than that.
Solar plexus, maybe chest.
Yeah, higher than the solar plexus.
Yeah, and it's like near the surface is what it sounds like, or like deep.
Like near the surface, and then also maybe a little bit of something in the neck. And the image that comes to mind is like maybe the like being in a room where I don't yet know the people, and I don't have like social status in that room, and I'm like
Definitely.
off to the side, a little bit separated, observing the room, and like feeling a little bit uncomfortable, sort of like.
Mm. And like what you want is to kind of like approach people and join the conversation, but the method is not easy in that image or straightforward.
Yeah,
Okay. And then something that can sometimes be helpful here is wondering like do you know when this started? Like starting to feel this way about asking other people for help?
yeah, sort of not specifically about asking other people for help, but they're like really like 2016.
Okay.
That at that time I put essays on the internet, I made YouTube videos, I streamed on Twitch, and then um, my my life didn't go very well, and I sort of was not super well calibrated. And then I think in the mode of getting to the next step, I changed a lot of things, and the things that I changed included somehow not
Mm.
do that in the same way, or being sort of like unblocked in the same way.
Yeah. What happened?
I sort of prior to that, I had sort of like the worst emotional low of my life. Was really depressed, and coming out of that depression, I was like, okay, I'm totally free. I can be whoever I want. I was, just like unfiltered, doing everything. And I think I that may be a little bit too far, or like it it didn't work super well. So I then, a couple of relationships sort of uh,
Mm.
damage from that, and then I, slowed down a bit and sort of like found an equilibrium that worked, but it wasn't. I think there's a higher energy, more sort of unfiltered equilibrium that would also work. Uh,
Yeah. It sounds. Were those relationships important to you?
I
Or like was losing those relationships like a significant event?
Yeah, it was I had gone to a summer program prior to my freshman year of college, and um, like been kicked out and told, okay, you need to defer a year and like mature before you can come back.
Mm.
Um, and I think, yeah, sort of in the moment for that, I was like, oh, no, that's fine. They're wrong. I'm right. And then I feel like a few months later, I was like, okay, maybe they're onto something, and I should, chill out.
Yeah. So you've been maturing. And like now you've done all this really good work. You like have a life for yourself, you have savings, you have a family. It feels like maybe you took that to heart and in fact you are spending a lot of time and energy trying to mature in the way that you were asked to.
Yeah, yeah,
I wonder if there's a way to like give yourself credit for that, especially to like help the person. It sounds like the person who was told that they needed to be mature, like that was quite painful. And I wonder if you can like tell that person good job and that like you did it.
yeah, yeah. I think I could. I feel like because I brushed it off. It's like,
Mm.
uh, but then yeah, later
Yeah, clearly he cared.
the 2 months later, who was like, okay, maybe there was something there. Yeah, good job to him. Like there was a lot of different directions I could have taken my life at that time, and I really appreciate where he took it. And I think, yeah, he did a really good job, and I'm thankful to him for that.
Yeah, and I wonder like because to me, if I was in that position, like I would feel bitter, I would feel depressed, like I would feel rejected. I mean, there's
Mhm.
that's like really heavy, and um, and maybe also just like it sounds like yeah, you were in some ways you were able to brush it off, but it also seems like it really got to you as well, and just like letting those emotions bubble up and like letting this uh, part of you that was rejected by people at like a formative time in your life just like be expressive enough that like and again I mean this is I'm making a couple assumptions like one assumption I'm making is like that part of you that was rejected is kind of holding you back a little bit and is kind of flaring up emotionally when you're imagining reaching out to people. um and if that's the case, I just like feeling those emotions fully and being like, oh yeah, wow, all that all that stuff like that sucks or that's sad or it might be that you need to grieve, it might be that you need to feel some amount of anger. And like a move that works here for me and like for a lot of people when you're integrating, uh, especially if you have some kind of thing that's blocking you that we've identified, is just like you're trying to find like what are the ways in which I can work with this slightly undeveloped part and then just like help it mature a lot faster. So it's like you did the maturing, but maybe that part is still brushing it off a little bit and not fully integrating the fact that you like did all this work to mature and that you're on the other side now. And like maybe those people at that summer camp would really appreciate having you now. You have a lot to bring to the table. Um, and you are a lot more mature. And similarly, like maybe a lot of people now that you could be reaching out to have a lot to gain from your relationship that you're not letting them gain because you're worried that they won't think you're mature enough. But you did spend all this time maturing, giving yourself some credit for that. And then, like, as I'm saying these, what you might want to be searching for is like objections. if so, like the claim, like, oh, I'm mature enough now. If there's any objections to that, that's kind of what you want to look for.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's some, I don't know, like some of the people whose stuff I really like on Twitter, like Chris Chipmunk. I feel like tweets tweets a lot of things where it's like this is I feel like in some ways is like I was just so willing to appear immature on Twitter, and I'm like admire that so much, and I'm like I would like to unlock the willingness to be publicly immature on Twitter, like
Hmm.
the new places that you can get to if you're willing to do that feel like really worth it.
Yeah. Okay. And by the way, generally here, searching for objections is like a general part of the method that I do. So like you can object to literally any part of it, including like, this is the wrong frame. Like we're going down the wrong rabbit hole. Like actually, I want to focus over here. Like actually, we've misplaced our attention, um, because I don't know everything about you, and
Yeah,
so it's hard for me to have complete context.
yeah,
But um, let's say like this is the right place. Let's spend a little bit of time here. I think, is there a way that you can integrate those two perspectives? Like, is there a way to be immature in a way that is actually mature? And like, do you have any thoughts on that? Or is that something that you still need to learn?
yes. I think there's a way to do it because I can I can see other people doing it, and I
Yeah. And I guess, like, for you, do you feel like, what are some of the things you'd like to be immature about that you're like, oh man, I feel blocked on this because it's like too silly or it's too immature?
uh,
So like all of a sudden, like a lot of censoring, like there's an anti-mimetic field around this or something.
yeah, just
Like this is dangerous. We're not supposed to go here.
yeah, a little bit. It's like yeah, what if I you know put the things that I thought into words and then put those words in conversations or essays or told to the people in my life. And
Right.
yeah,
Yeah. Well, there's a couple things. Like, first of all, if you say anything that you really don't want publicly, I don't need to release the episode, and I can make sure that none of that stuff gets heard by anyone. And then, secondly, like I personally am not going to judge you. I think this is like a plenty safe space to say relatively radical ideas or things that you think are dumb. And uh, if that helps, like I would personally be delighted to hear your like weird ideas that are immature.
yeah, no, and I can know that to be true, and uh, the step of being like, okay, I'm willing to have this conversation, and then and know that this conversation is going on to YouTube. Like,
Hmm.
I'm not so far away. Like, I'm that's
And is it like related? So like we have all this data now. It's like, oh shit! Like as soon as I actually am contemplating saying these ideas, all of a sudden, like boom, a lot of feelings of kind of like locking back up and saying like that's a kind of dangerous area. Is that the same part that was rejected? Are we getting a different part now? Do we have a little bit more evidence of like where this is coming from, or like why, like what you're afraid of is happening, or like any imagery that comes to mind?
feels like maybe a different part, but not yeah, tough to tell.
What would happen if you said the immature stuff?
I would get to know people faster because there's sort of more interface of me to
Okay,
work with than
yeah,
I
that
like.
sounds good.
I would be more frequently judged to be immature
Okay,
by
yeah.
people. I
Is that worth it to you? Like if it was just those things, are you? Is it worth being slightly more frequently judged to be immature in order to be closer to people?
Yes.
Okay. Are there any objections to that, or is like maybe you just start now?
Just the physical rejection, like intellectually, this is the
But
position.
like, okay, the physical objections, it's holding on to something that we haven't addressed yet. Like,
Yeah,
what
yeah.
does it know? What does it know that we don't know?
What does it know?
Like, it knows something about what's going to happen to you.
Maybe it is this same part. It's like, okay, we've got you know we've got this good community. We've
Yeah,
got
you're going to get kicked out of summer school. You're going to get kicked out of your whole community.
like, okay, let's not get kicked out of the co-op scene. And it's like I don't I don't think that's I don't think that's realistic. Like I,
Yeah.
you know,
No, no, but totally. Okay, like real, like it has in fact happened to you that upon sharing certain types of ideas, you have been completely kicked out of your social scene. So like with proof that that's something humans do to each other. And like it's really good for you to acknowledge that and to give that part credit for like protecting you.
yeah,
It's trying to look at reality and use that evidence to protect you. Um, is there anything like what if we start small? Like what if we just dip our toe in? Is there anything that you can share that's like close? It's like edgy, but you're like, surely nobody's gonna kick me out for that. Like that's just kind of a funny joke. Maybe we don't just need to dive into the deep end.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I think there are options like that. Like I wrote a short, somewhat mundane essay about the sort of my like approach to life and finances related to my poker career, and I only shared it with like a Discord of poker players, but like there's not um, like
By the way, who are you afraid of rejecting you? Like, surely some people come to mind. Is it your housemates? Is it your like some specific accounts on Twitter? Like, who is going to be the person? If anybody rejects you for your ideas, who is going to be the person that rejects you first, or the group of people?
I don't think it's not necessarily like for the ideas. It's like, well, okay. I guess there are like two different ones. I think for for my like scene and community back home, uh, there's maybe uh, some fear that it's like, okay, like you're like I don't know, like a capitalist with like warring ideas, uh, who's trying to do things incrementally, while we
Yeah, marginalism.
like
Uh-oh. We need revolution, Karsten.
yeah. So I think for that there's a little bit of that, and then for I don't know, Twitter, like if I think about coming to New York and visiting Fractal, it's just like it's like, oh, there's 100 other people, like you're nice enough, but we've got busy lives.
So true. You're not good enough. You don't meet the bar.
Yeah, or like
Yeah.
you meet some bar, but we're busy and going through our things, and you're here for 3 days or whatever. Like I probably won't remember your name, but I like you well enough, and uh,
It doesn't sound so bad for what it's worth. Like that's
yeah,
you're starting to talk me back into it. It's like, oh, like I get to stay with a bunch of people for 3 days and like I meet them and we like each other, but we like don't fully remember each other and then maybe we meet again later down the line. It's like,
I
I
mean,
don't know, that's kind of nice.
there's got to be something else there. If if I hadn't made it, if I'm like, okay, like here's an example of people extending and doing types of things adjacent to what I want to do. Have I considered, stopping by there in the last year? Boy, have I sure considered. Have I done it? Boy, I sure haven't.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, maybe it's like, oh, we won't actually like have a conversation with you about like what specifically is going wrong. But you could also schedule that. Like you could be like, oh yeah, I know you're busy, but do you have time for like this kind of meeting with this kind of scope? Like we're chatting now. Um. Anyway, I have to go now, unfortunately, because we're at time. But like, these are all great questions to deal with, and I think, uh, yeah, I'm like this type of fear of judgment from society is so common, like very, very, very common. And the more that you work through it and the more that you work through these emotions, the more you're gonna like mine gold also for the people in your life. So to the extent that you want to mature very much, like, I don't know, writing about these feelings themselves and what's happening with them is going to like help with that in interesting ways. Um, and is going to be useful to people like me or people like Rich or like we're all interested in these questions of how do people feel in society and how can we get to know the facets of living in a society better such that we become masters of society and aren't subject to them so much but actually they are things that we can like use for our in order to improve our lives. um it sounds like you have a perspective on that that's rather unique and like both common but also like you have a good grasp on it and you're able to talk about it. um And then yeah, I'm really interested in like what would happen if you were known as a capitalist, for instance. I'm also interested in like what would happen if you were known as like a tryhard in the community space or something. Like these are interesting things to contemplate, and it's also interesting to contemplate like whether or not I ever felt that way, or whether or not Rich ever felt that way, or if like we had ever been rejected for the sorts of ideas and like communities that we wanted to build. And it's not even therefore like, oh, because they were like I also have to be, but also just thinking like maybe there's a sense in which you can connect to um, people through your own sense of alienation, and uh, and in that way like lessen the severity just a little bit. I'd also just take seriously like humans do witch hunts and people get rejected, and like have you read the Tim Urban thing about the elephant, the mammoth? Tim Urban social mammoth. This like essay changed my life when I was this essay changed my life when I was, I don't know, teen or whatever. I read it in college. I'll send it to you on Twitter DMs, but it's basically about the mammoth who deeply cares about what other people think. Part of your brain is like Tim Urban. He makes these funny graphics. A really really funny essay. Very much will make you laugh, but also uh, kind of paints all this in a fun light. But yeah, just like point out these are like ridiculously valid fears. In fact, you even have evidence that the fear is valid by like having been rejected. And also you can know it even better. Like you can develop a nuanced relationship with this field such that you know what is going to get you rejected and you know what's not going to get you rejected, and you can predict how people are going to respond to things, and you can like take risks too, like where you're like, oh, I'm not actually sure about this one, but I know I could handle the downside risk, so it's going to be okay. So your relationship with social rejection can be one that's a lot more mature than the like, oh, if I even open that up, I'm going to shut down kind
Yeah,
of relationship.
yeah.
Cool.
And I think I I know that, and I feel like the my sensors. I'm not someone who's like, oh, I really don't know where everyone else is at. If I step out, it's going to be the train. Like I do think I have the knowledge to be calibrated or like to control it at various flow levels that are not zero as
Yeah,
well.
and even despite the fact that you have that knowledge, it is still work to convince all the parts of yourself.
Absolutely.
It's like, yeah, you know intellectually, but like just take seriously how afraid you are also, and be like, that's a completely rational fear. Like I have so much evidence that that's a rational fear. Like how do I work with that part to convince that part? Rather than like you don't want to like use logic against yourself as a weapon and like bash yourself in the head with it. It's like that part is just like, no, logic doesn't work on this problem. Like it's so much worse than you think. And you have to be like, yeah, you're right. Like, wow, it's really, really bad. I see how bad it is. And then kind of gently take bigger and bigger risks into the kiddie pool instead of trying to dive in all at once into the part that you like intellectually know is going to be okay, so to speak. Anyway, those are some of my thoughts. I unfortunately have to hop off. It was a pleasure talking to you, and I hope we get to chat again in the future. It'd be fun if you visited Fractal.
Very much.
Bye, Carson.